While we were not given the opportunity to meet as a budget system subcommittee, Senator Taylor and I had a number of conversations about what our approach would be to the justice system's budget this year, and this amendment is a reflection of those discussions and really is something that we need to just stop, take a moment, and understand exactly what we are debating here. This isn't the first time I've stood on this floor and talked about the dangers that are present and clear in our correctional facilities. My first year in the Senate in 2017, I stood on this floor and I talked about the escalation of violence in our correctional facilities. I talked about concerns with an underfunding that was happening. I talked about concerns with overcrowding. And I warned of the dangers of telling correctional employees they weren't going to have bargaining rights to talk about their working conditions and staffing and safety. And I talked about the death of a corrections officer in Delaware in 2017. The threat was real then. So don't get too eager to pat yourselves on the back by investing a few more $1 million this year, this time, after this incident. This wasn't isolated. This wasn't new. We warned, we warned, we warned. And what was the response? They're not public safety. What was the response? Underfunding again in 2018 and 2019 and 2020. I've talked to multiple corrections officers, corrections nurses, about their individual assaults. I've talked to 3 nurses who have suffered serious injuries. One of them had her career taken away by an assault in one of our facilities. Just today, I was contacted by a nurse who works in the Oakdale facility. 2 days before Christmas, December 23rd, this past year, she was told by an inmate, "I'm going to kill you." So she communicated that up the food chain. Nothing changed. She kept working. She kept working with this individual. On Christmas, she was assaulted. This offender literally tried to rip her arm off. She was out for 3 months. Did anybody hear about it? These assaults are happening. They're happening again and again. And there is a cause and effect here. When she was grabbed, the understaffing issue was pretty clear. There were no core security officers around to assist. And you know what? She suffered bicep damage, nerve damage. And after several months, she went back to work in the same facility with the same offender in the same conditions. Oh, there was a change, one change. She was shifted away. Essentially, she was punished. Her work assignments were forced to be changed. That was the response. She got assigned to a new unit. These things are happening because of the actions of this body. This Republican government stands there and says, we are going to be responsible with the budget. So responsible that we're going to have nurses in our correctional facility wheeling out carts of medication with only one security officer there to respond as they serve literally 100 inmates at a time. This Republican government has decided we'll pay out the injury claims. That was a decision that was made. That was a conscious decision. And it was made again and again and again. And here we are today being told by the floor manager of this bill, this is a whole lot of money. It should have been there 4 years ago. Senator Taylor has offered an amendment that actually addresses a need. When he offered restrictive language earlier, it was for a reason. It's so $10 million that's appropriated by this legislature does not get misused and distracted from its actual purpose. It should not go to management salaries. It should be going to the people that are needed in these facilities to keep people in the facility safe, other inmates safe, and our larger community safe. Because escape attempts have happened. I've had the chance to visit 4 of our corrections facilities, and I appreciate Senator Taylor and the other senators who visited a facility again this year. And I'll tell you what, this isn't more than the workers in those facilities have asked for, Senator Garrett. It may be more than the director asked for. But the workers in these facilities are asking for help. They want us to have their back. Well, today, with this amendment, Senate Democrats are going to show we have your back. Not just to do what should have been done years ago, not just to take a step forward, but actually solve problems today. That's what this amendment is really about. Over the last 2 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent wastefully on mandatory overtime, overextending corrections officers and nurses and other staff in our correctional facilities, where we have people working 60 hours a week again and again and again. You want to talk about how difficult it is to recruit people to work in our correctional facilities, Senator Garrett? I will tell you, you make it pretty hard when you're going to ask them to work 60 hours a week with this level of security concerns we have in these facilities, ongoing escalations of violence, and responses from management that essentially punish people for being assaulted. That makes it pretty hard to retain employees and recruit employees. This amendment's a big deal. And there are a lot of people watching to see what we do with this opportunity here today. This helps us make sure we have funding we need for the staff, for the radios, for the equipment that's needed. $14 million in specific targeted funds to address the problem, understaffing, and over-reliance on overtime. So I want you to just take a moment. Step back from the deal with the House. Step back from whether this is an extension from last year's budget. And take a moment and say, what is the exact right thing to do by these employees here today? I think you know the answer. There are a lot of people counting on you.